Your dominant inner state creates your outer reality. Act from certainty, not fear. What you hold inside becomes the lens through which you interpret the world. And eventually it becomes the world you experience. When your mind is filled with doubt, hesitation, and fear, every opportunity looks risky. Every challenge looks threatening, and every delay feels like a sign that things won't work out. But when you choose certainty, even before you see proof, you begin to respond to life with a completely different energy. You stop shrinking yourself. You stop second-guessing your worth. You stop waiting for permission or validation to move forward. Certainty allows you to walk into situations with a quiet inner confidence that says, I can handle this. I am supported. Things are unfolding for me. Acting from certainty doesn't require everything to be perfect. It requires you to trust that the outcome is aligned with you. When you hold this inner knowing, your body language shifts, your decisions sharpen, your intuition strengthens. And the world begins to mirror that stability back to you. People respond differently to you because you're no longer projecting fear. You're projecting clarity. Doors open because you walk toward them instead of doubting whether they're meant for you. Opportunities appear because your energy is prepared to receive them. Solutions show up because you're not clouded by panic or anxiety. Fear narrows your vision, certainty widens it. Fear makes you reactive. Certainty makes you intentional. Fear keeps you stuck in, what if it goes wrong? While certainty empowers you to move with, what if it goes right? And that shift, though invisible on the inside, becomes incredibly visible on the outside. Your outer life starts changing the moment you decide your inner world will no longer be ruled by fear. When you lead with certainty, you tell life exactly what direction you're moving in, and life rearranges itself to meet you there. Assume the outcome is already yours, and your mind will align your actions with that reality. When you hold the belief that something already belongs to you, your entire inner world begins to shift. You stop approaching your goals with desperation or uncertainty, and instead you move with quiet assurance. This assumption creates a mental framework where doubt has no room to exist. Your thoughts become more focused, your emotions become more stable, and your decisions become more powerful. You no longer act from a place of trying to get something. You act from the grounded confidence of someone who is simply moving toward what is already theirs. When you truly assume the outcome is yours, you stop entertaining scenarios of failure. Your mind begins filtering your environment differently. You notice opportunities you would have ignored before. You feel drawn toward people and situations that match your vision, and you automatically reject choices that don't align with where you're heading. This isn't forced. It's natural, because your subconscious mind is now organizing your actions to match the reality you've accepted within yourself. This assumption transforms your behavior without you even realizing it. You take bolder steps. You speak with more conviction. You stay consistent instead of quitting at the first sign of difficulty. You develop a resilience that comes from knowing the ending, even if you're still walking through the middle. Your actions start reflecting the version of you who has already succeeded, and that alignment creates momentum that pulls your desire into your physical experience. Assuming the outcome is already yours creates a vibration of certainty that your mind, your habits, and even your body begin to follow. You make choices that support your success because you're no longer questioning whether success is possible. You've already claimed it. And once that inner claim is made, your mind works tirelessly to turn it into your lived reality. It's something you step into. Most people wait for confidence to magically appear, as if it will suddenly rise within them once circumstances become perfect. But confidence rarely shows up before the moment you need it. It grows only when you decide to act despite not feeling ready. It is a choice, a posture, an internal decision to trust yourself even when your mind tries to convince you that you're not prepared. When you step into confidence, you declare that you are enough right now, not after you achieve something, not after you prove something, not after someone else validates you. The truth is, Confidence lives in your actions far more than in your thoughts. The moment you take a step forward, your mind begins to adjust to that movement. You start realizing that the things you feared weren't as heavy as you imagined. Every step you take without waiting for certainty becomes fuel that strengthens your belief in yourself. You don't build confidence by thinking about being confident. You build it by doing the things your fear tries to talk you out of. Confidence also comes from accepting that you don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You don't need to have everything figured out to move. You don't need to have all the answers to start. When you step into confidence, you stop trying to earn your worth and start expressing it. You shift from hesitation to intention. You shift from questioning your value to embodying it. And when you embody it, others can feel it before you even speak. Stepping into confidence means stepping into the version of yourself that already exists within you. The grounded, capable, intuitive, decisive version that simply needed permission to come forward. And that permission can only come from you. When you stop searching for confidence outside yourself and start activating it within, you begin to move through life differently with clarity, and with an inner power that no fear can silence. Every challenge becomes smaller when you carry the belief that life is unfolding in your favor. When you hold this belief, difficulties stop feeling like roadblocks and start appearing as temporary phases that are guiding you somewhere meaningful. The weight of obstacles becomes lighter because you no longer interpret them as signs that you are failing or that life is against you. Instead, you begin to see them as necessary steps, shaping you into someone stronger, clearer, and more prepared for what you've asked for. This mindset doesn't erase challenges, but it does transform the way you meet them. When you truly believe that life is on your side, you stop taking setbacks personally. You stop assuming that every delay is negative. You stop spiraling into self-doubt the moment something unexpected happens. Instead, you pause, breathe, and remind yourself that there is a bigger arrangement happening behind the scenes. One you cannot yet see, but can feel if you stay connected to trust. This belief creates an internal calm that allows you to think more clearly, respond more intelligently, and navigate adversity with more patience and perspective. With this mindset, challenges lose their power to intimidate you because you are no longer viewing them as threats. You start interpreting them as hidden guidance, as refinement, as preparation. Even when something doesn't go the way you wanted, you instinctively look for the deeper purpose behind it. You begin to realize that what feels like a detour may actually be the precise direction that leads you closer to what you desire. And that makes every challenge feel less like an enemy and more like a teacher. Carrying the belief that life is unfolding in your favor creates a sense of inner stability. You don't break down as easily. You don't panic as quickly. You don't lose hope when circumstances shift. Instead of shrinking, you expand. Instead of resisting what comes your way, you learn to move with it. And in that flow, you discover that most challenges were never as big as your fear made them seem. They were simply opportunities disguised as obstacles, waiting for you to trust the process and rise above them. When you act as if things always work out, you stop begging for results and start embodying them. There is a profound shift that happens the moment you stop chasing outcomes and begin carrying yourself as someone who already has what they desire. You no longer operate from desperation, fear, or a sense of lack. Instead, you move from calm assurance. Begging for results keeps you in the energy of wanting, waiting, and worrying. Embodying the result puts you in the energy of having, receiving, and expecting. That shift alone changes the quality of your thoughts, the tone of your emotions, and the power behind every decision you make. When you embody the result, you no longer question your path every second. You no longer ask, is this working? Because you already know it is. You no longer keep checking for signs, because you understand that the sign is the belief you carry. Begging keeps you focused on what's missing, embodying keeps you focused on what's becoming, and life responds to the energy you consistently express. Acting as if things always work out signals to your mind that the struggle is over and the outcome is secured. This embodiment shows up in subtle but powerful ways. You speak differently. You walk differently. You think differently. You make choices that match the reality you expect instead of the fears you're trying to escape. You let go of doubts faster. You handle setbacks with more strength. You stop overreacting to delays because you trust that the final result is already aligned with you. That inner steadiness becomes your new baseline. When you act as if everything is already working out, you naturally rise into the version of yourself who can handle the opportunities, success, and abundance you're calling in. You stop waiting to feel ready, because embodying the result makes you ready. You stop asking life to prove something to you, because you're already proving it to yourself through your state of being. And once your state aligns with your desire, the physical reality eventually follows. Because embodiment is the bridge that turns intention into manifestation. Consistency in your inner assumptions unlocks consistency in your outer manifestations. What you assume to be true day after day becomes the energetic blueprint your life begins to mirror. Most people don't lack desire, they struggle because their assumptions keep shifting. One moment they believe their success is certain, and the next moment they doubt it because circumstances don't change fast enough. This back and forth creates mixed signals within the mind, and mixed signals produce mixed results. When your assumptions are unstable, your manifestations become unstable as well. But when you choose a steady inner assumption, when you hold it regardless of delays, doubts, or distractions, you create a powerful internal anchor. This anchor prevents you from being thrown around by temporary circumstances. You remain centered, aligned, and focused even when nothing outside you seems to be moving. Consistency in your assumptions keeps your internal state strong, and a strong internal state eventually reshapes your external world. Your assumptions influence your attitude, your reactions, your decisions, and your energy. A consistent assumption creates consistent emotional patterns, and those emotional patterns become the environment in which your desires grow. When you repeatedly assume that something is certain, your subconscious begins treating that assumption as reality. It shifts your behavior, sharpens your awareness, and draws your attention to people, situations, and opportunities that match the belief you've been holding. It's not about forcing yourself to think positively every second. It's about returning again and again to the assumption that aligns with the life you want. Even when doubt whispers, even when old fears try to resurface, you choose the assumption that empowers you instead of the one that weakens you. And over time, this consistency becomes transformation. What you assume consistently, you become. What you assume consistently, you attract. What you assume consistently, you manifest into physical form. When you finally understand that your inner world is the birthplace of your outer reality, everything changes. You stop living as a reaction and start living as a creator. You begin moving with intention, certainty, and quiet strength. You stop begging life for proof and start embodying the person who already has the outcome secured. And with every consistent assumption, every confident step, every moment you choose trust over fear, you reshape the path ahead of you. Life responds to who you decide to be, not who you hope to become. So decide. Decide to act as if everything always works out for you. Decide to carry the belief that you are supported. Decide to step into the version of yourself who no longer doubts, no longer hesitates, no longer shrinks. Because the moment you claim this identity, your reality starts shifting around you. The moment you choose certainty, life begins aligning in ways you couldn't have imagined. This is your reminder, your awakening, your turning point. Everything you want is already moving toward you. Everything you desire is already aligning with you. Everything you're becoming is already unfolding in your favor. Stand tall in that truth. Walk boldly in that truth. And from this moment forward, live, act, think, and believe as someone for whom everything, absolutely everything, always works out.